Thanks. Look. Look what the client sent over for the party.
Oh, how thoughtful. I was just running out to get a few last-minute things.
I'll get them.
Are you sure?
Positive.
For some people, any reason is a good reason to go for a ride in their 1985 Continental Mark VII. Look beyond Mark VII's aerodynamic styling and interior comforts. You will find a performance machine designed for driving exhilaration in the European tradition. With four-wheel power disc brakes, power rack and pinion steering, an electronically fuel-injected V8, and an advanced computer-controlled air suspension system. Sit behind the wheel and you immediately know Mark VII is a driver's car. All the indicators are positioned to be clearly seen. Controls reached with a minimum of movement. Advanced features include an electronic instrument panel and message center with trip computer. For sporty performance, the Mark VII LSC incorporates an improved performance engine, additional handling features, and special trim, including articulated sport seats. For a more distinctive appearance, the Bill Blass Designer Series and Versace Designer Series models offer elegant styling accents from two world-famous designers. All Continental Mark VII models are designed to give you premium luxury with superior comfort and control. Whether you consider Mark VII a performance luxury car or a luxury performance car, all depends on your point of view.
Get lost? Jacoby's is only a block away.
I took the long way.
The 1985 Continental Mark VII is a personal luxury car unlike any other. Its innovative design, advanced features, and performance orientation put it head-to-head with more expensive European touring models. Mark VII's styling is smooth and rounded, based on aerodynamic efficiency. Present the styling to your customers in terms of function as much as appearance. You can point to the flush-mounted aerodynamic headlamps, the steeply raked windshield and aircraft-type doors, all designed to offer a minimum of wind resistance. Inside, you'll find cloth-covered luxury seats with manual recliners and six-way power adjustment for the driver's seat. Like an airplane cockpit, all Mark VII's instruments and controls are positioned on a priority basis to be clearly seen and readily operated. The electronic instrument panel features a digital speedometer and fuel gauge, electronic odometer, and message center with programmable trip computer. The floor console serves as a padded armrest and lockable stowage compartment with coin slots, a separate compartment for cassette tapes, and a gimbaled coffee cup holder. Comfort and convenience features on Mark VII include electronic climate control, which heats and cools automatically according to driver set temperature, an electronic AM/FM stereo radio, tilt steering wheel, speed control, an electric fuel filler door release, remote deck lid release, electric rear window defroster, and numerous power assists. Mark VII is a driver-oriented automobile with a combination of advanced features unlike any other luxury car. The best way for a customer to appreciate the feel, the control, the comfort, and the luxury of Mark VII is to go on an evaluation drive. Salespeople across the country are saying that the key to success in selling Mark VII is taking prospects out on the road. When they do, their closing rate is much higher. Make an evaluation drive an integral part of every Mark VII presentation. On the outside, the 1985 Continental Mark VII is essentially unchanged from last year, However, inside and under the skin, there have been a number of changes. There's a new standard Radcliffe body cloth with Olivet inserts for the seats. Standard on the LSC and Designer Series models with the 5-liter engine is the new anti-lock brake system. Its operation is described in the air suspension anti-lock brake system module on the disc. The LSC series has been upgraded with several changes, including an improved performance version of the 5-liter engine that makes a good engine even better. That's because engine breathing has been improved through the use of a revised camshaft, tubular headers, and dual exhausts. Also new for the LSC are standard fog lamps, articulated functional sports seats, and the compass thermometer group. All of these changes are sure to enhance the appeal of Mark VII as it earns a place as America's performance luxury automobile.
Welcome to the Inner Sanctum of Motor Trend magazine. My name is Tony Swan. I'm the editor. In the trade, Motor Trend is called a general interest automotive magazine. Ad agencies refer to it as a buff book. We prefer to think of it as an automotive enthusiast magazine, and we frequently shorten that up to characterize Motor Trend as a world car magazine. In any case, our circulation is well over 750,000 per month. When you add the pass-along readership, our audience number is well over 4 million. We are well read. I mention that because today I want to tell you unequivocally that in our opinion, besides being the best car that the Lincoln Mercury division has ever produced, the Mark VII, the LSC edition in particular, puts Lincoln Mercury in a leadership position among luxury car makers. But already I can hear some of you saying, hey, wait a minute, Motor Trend's one of the buff books. What's a buff book got to do with us? A couple of years ago, I would have had to answer that question by saying almost nothing. Lincoln Town Cars and even previous editions of the Mark didn't have much to do with what interests our readers. We think it's fair to say the last enthusiast Lincolns were the ones that ran in the old Mexican road race back in the mid-50s. But as you know, the winds of change have been blowing gale force at Ford Motor Company the past couple of years, and all of a sudden the Lincoln Mercury dealers are selling something that appeals to a whole new kind of buyer. And there are a lot of those buyers out there. 4 million of them read our magazine every month. It's a big market. And we think it's going to get bigger. And because it does embody a significant part of our readership, let me tell you who those readers are. Our readership is heavily male, and 40% of the audience earns above $35,000 a year. And about 55% of those readers fall into professional or managerial occupations, with some of those guys making $135,000 a year. Our median age is 39, with about half between the ages of 25 and 49. Almost 42% have attended college. So what we're talking about here is that recently discovered group of people called YOMPs, which is the acronym for Young Upwardly Mobile Professionals, those younger, better educated car prospects with more disposable income. The influence these readers have is substantial. The mere fact that someone reads Motor Trend, or even Brand X, makes him an automotive authority to his neighbors, friends, and relatives. They influence purchase decisions. Hey, let's see what Joe says about the new Continental Mark VII. He reads those buff books, you know. So the kind of cars our readers prefer become important to you as well as us. Our interest in Mark VII goes back a couple of years, when one day we suddenly realized that Ford wasn't kidding. They really had a design philosophy based on product integrity, form following function, quality. It wasn't something we were reading in the press releases. We were beginning to see it in the cars. And then we saw the Concept 90 car, and we knew then and there a little bit of history was in the making. So we made it a cover story. And to show you the interest out there in a good American functional luxury car, this June 1982 issue became one of our best sellers on the newsstand. Now, if you told me 3 years ago that I'd be putting a Lincoln on the cover of Motor Trend magazine, I'd have said, what a great idea. We'll do it right after we do the 1937 DeSoto. But seasons change, and in the space of just over 1 year, we put together not one, but 2 Lincoln covers. The one of the Concept 90, a Lincoln in the making, and then, in August of '83, this one, Mark VII, the real thing. Yes, that was me on the cover in that helmet, wearing that tuxedo. Bill Blass, eat your heart out. Anyway, the issue with the Mark VII on the cover sold well too, in spite of my tuxedo and helmet, which tells us that Lincoln Mercury is on the right track, at least insofar as our readers are concerned. In fact, the kinds of cars that seem to be attracting more and more attention are cars capable of generating some excitement. Cars like the LSC that are visually stimulating and fun to drive. Let me tell you about the kinds of cars our readers don't want to hear about. Econo cars, for one. Although fuel economy was big news 4 years ago, none of our readers wants to hear about econo cars today, unless it's some little street tiger like the VW Rabbit GTI, or the Dodge Omni GLH, or the Ford Escort Turbo, if we ever actually see a Ford Escort Turbo. They don't want to hear about middle-of-the-road American sedans, unless it's something like the Pontiac 6000 FTE, or the Buick Century T-Type. They have absolutely no time for American luxury hardware, unless it's something like the Cadillac Eldorado TC, or the Continental Mark VII LSC. Our readers want to read about high tech, and we know Lincoln Mercury has an excellent story to tell on this score. They want to read about good handling. They want to read about performance and style. This doesn't mean we're talking strictly about European cars, as witness the LSC. But, until now anyway, the European manufacturers, notably the Germans, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, were setting the pace. I guess what excites us a lot about Mark VII is the fact that it alone, among the Americans, has the content and the courage to take on the Germans on their own terms. As writer Tony Asenza said about LSC in that issue with that masked fellow with the tux on the cover, it's 60-degree windshield, 63-degree backlight, flush headlights, flush side glass, tumble home angle, and modestly integrated grille all spell Autobahn. So what is this reader, this new kind of Lincoln buyer, responding to in a car? It's not really that mysterious. First, there's the feel. Taut, precise, responsive. These are cars that have the capability to satisfy people who like to drive. People who derive pleasure from the act of driving well. Then there's the matter of appointments. Spartan but luxurious. Firm seating but comfortable. Finally, the exterior. Strong attention to aerodynamics. The virtual absence of bright work. Cars like the BMW 633 and the Mercedes 500 SEC, and now the Mark VII LSC, reward their owners in a number of ways. They're fun to drive, they exude quality, and they say, quietly but unmistakably, that their owners have arrived. So the question is, can this car, this Continental Mark VII, recapture some of the lost ground for the American luxury car market? We think so. Although we don't think this car is likely to be mistaken for a BMW quite yet. Can we talk? I know that many of you consider this car too radical. Frankly, we think it doesn't go far enough, not even in the LSC edition. As far as the handling is concerned, our testing and subjective evaluations tell us there should be more roll stiffness, a little more firm in the ride, a tire with even more contact patch than the current 215, and a lot more feel in the steering. If the handling in this car is to become indistinguishable from the European entries, we also think there should be the availability of more horsepower, although that appears to be on its way. We have yet to see any digital instrumentation that we accept wholeheartedly, and it's interesting to note that Mercedes and BMW have not yet given way to this fad. Finally, the LSC still has too much exterior bright work, and we wish the angle of the grille work had been left as it was on the Concept 90 car. On the other hand, we see a lot of pluses, and it's interesting to see how much controversy this car has stirred up even in our own leadership. Some old-line Mark mavens seem to regard the Mark VII as some sort of personal affront, but a great many others applaud the car without reservation. Whether it's truly a rival for some of the lords of the Autobahn or not, the new Mark VII has plenty of panache. That shape is thoroughly distinctive and as contemporary as anything in the market today. It's a superb car to travel in, and, judging by our visits around the watering holes of Los Angeles, not a bad car to be seen in either. Whenever we show up in our Mark VII, it always seems to wind up on the front row of the restaurant parking lot. Versus some of the foreign competition we've been talking about, Mark VII will obviously come to the battle with a nice price advantage, which is pretty rare for American hardware these days. Versus domestic competition, notably the Cadillac Eldorado TC, we think the LSC has it hands down. They've been struggling with this whole, where's the new buyer coming from, question over at Cadillac too. And in our opinion, they're not handling the struggle as decisively as Lincoln Mercury has. As I noted at the outset, we see this as unquestionably the best Lincoln ever made. But like any new concept, it's going to take time to gain acceptance. Time, plus the realization that here is a personal luxury car that has the capacity to appeal to buyers who actually like to drive. Be prepared to talk cars with these people. How can you sum up a car like this new Continental Mark VII? You can say it's a personal luxury car that fits a large and growing market. A car that appeals to the eye as well as the spirit. A car that gets the juices flowing a bit faster. Well, I suppose it's all those things. But personally, I think that Mark VII is more than just a good car. It is really a very good idea that manages to capture the grand tradition of the Mark in a fashion that clearly announces to the mutual fund and portfolio crowd, you've changed, so we've changed too. As I mentioned, LSC was a highly successful cover subject for our magazine, appearing last August. I'd like to close with another thought taken from the text of that story that detailed the new car. Quote, the LSC has all the imposing presence of the old car, but with none of the cliches. A car done in the contoured arts of tomorrow's world. Amen.
Each of Lincoln's luxury cars, Lincoln Town Car, Continental, and Continental Mark VII, occupies a specific niche in the market, and each car appeals to a specific type of buyer. If you understand the appeal of each car and who their buyers are, you'll have an easier time qualifying prospects, and you'll improve your closing rate. First, let's look at the Lincoln Town Car. Buyers of Town Car are older than buyers of Continental and Mark VII. Town car prospects are interested in 6-passenger room, the large trunk, soft ride, and traditional appearance. They also look upon Town Car as America's premier luxury car. The Lincoln reputation is important to them, and part of what they're buying is the Lincoln name. Cadillac DeVille is Town Car's primary competitor, and DeVille owners are one of Town Car's primary sources of conquest sales. Turning to Continental, we see that buyers are slightly younger than those of Town Car. Continental owners tend to have more formal education and are more affluent. They're traditional, like Town Car buyers, but they're fashion conscious as well. Continental buyers like to think of themselves as contemporary, and they look for advanced technology in their luxury cars. Styling is a major reason why owners say they bought a Continental. They look for distinction, perhaps even a bit of flair, to make their cars stand out from the crowd. Continental's primary competitor is the Cadillac DeVille. A new market for Lincoln has been carved out by the Continental Mark VII. This remarkable personal luxury car is bringing a new breed of buyers into our dealerships. Advanced engineering, responsive handling, and performance are Mark VII's main attractions. Buyers of Mark VII are slightly younger than buyers of our other two luxury cars. They earn more money, and they attended school longer. There's no question Mark VII appeals to a different sort of buyer than earlier Marks. Automotive magazines that cover only performance-oriented cars have had nothing but praise for it, and this has helped generate interest. Mark VII is attracting new buyers to Lincoln Mercury and is shaking up a traditional market. Many new Mark VII buyers have never owned a Lincoln Mercury product before. Surprisingly large percentage of them traded in expensive European luxury cars, such as Mercedes and BMW. However, some owners of Mark VI and Mark V may not be attracted to Mark VII styling and won't buy a new Mark no matter how well it performs. The same can be said about owners such as